Magical times, my man. Magical times. Big difference in a day. What a difference a day makes, I tell you that much.
Mm.
Unbelievable. So much shifting, so much moving. Done a process of Ring of Fire just to allow some stuff through. Energy's completely different. Really got in touch with just grounding the body from head to toe and making sure that all the energies are in alignment, and then also from that space fine tuning the connection between the head from the heart up through crown.
Mm.
Very, very interesting. And then connecting in with the inner masculine and feminine, and being able to discern the two energies
Yep.
and connecting them in through some of the inner child work. And it is fantastic. Like, there's just a sense of peace when you're coming in from that space. Afterwards, like, my head is like off tap at the moment, but it's going to take a little bit to integrate. Massive shifts are going to start to kick in, and they already have. And so this is just pretty much just sort of surrender to the whole process now, and I just need to practice fine tuning that connection for being able to discern what the messages are. Bloody awesome, man. Like, energy is through the roof. So a lot of it was getting out of my head.
So what I'm saying to you here is, which was really interesting with you yesterday, is that, and that was one thing that we talked about, is that we all have our own, like, energy side of things. Like you're saying, this day is totally different to what yesterday was like. So what's changed within that? You know, we're talking about energy, which is what you're just saying. So what's the shift?
The shift was acceptance, and it was accepting things for the way they are and not judging them and allowing them to be whatever it was. And it sounds ridiculous, but without it, you end up staying in this state of judgment.
Now, yeah, the reason I'm asking you here, right, and I'm just going to be brutally honest and upfront with you. Okay, yesterday you were down with your energy, right? Okay, what's
Yep.
one thing that you go to when you're down with energy? And I saw it. I just want to ask you why you do it, and I want to, then we can help people.
Why I do it? It's habit.
So what did you go to?
I'll go to anything. To be honest, I'll go to caffeine. I'll go to.
Mm.
That's the
So
big
why?
one. When I'm low on
Why?
energy,
Why? That's why I want to ask you, because you're so powerful.
because
Like you've got that much. This is what really bamboozles me, and I want to learn more about this because you're so powerful. To me, you are such a powerful energy. Yet you rely on external things to help kick you up, and I'm going, why? Why do you do that? And it's not you. What I'm really helping you, because I know a lot of people do it. But what I'm curious about is that you're so tapped into energy, vibration, and frequency, which you are, yet you still rely on external things to get you out of it.
yeah, and the problem is when I disconnect from that energy, and that's when it just goes haywire.
So you get back to old patterns.
And yeah, and then you just slip back into old patterns that you used to run them. Like, I used to run that program for years, like back when I had the signage company, especially caffeine. Like, it was a beast. Like, I'd drink 2 cans of mother before 7 o'clock in the morning. but I'd run all day, and that was the story that I'd play.
Wow. Okay.
And that's not all. Like, when it's just, and that's what I'm finding. If I disconnect, I lose everything. And so the biggest push for me now is to stay grounded and stay connected to the energy. Otherwise, that's when I start doing stuff that I know that I shouldn't. I know that I don't need it. But I guess it's partially habit, mainly fear.
Fear of what?
And losing control.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm fully connected, there's a sense of power within me where it's like, I don't know what I'm saying. It's just guided and it goes straight through, right? And everything just seems to work, right? And then when I'm not, and I've got to force it, or I think I have to force it to get into that space instead of taking a step back. Yeah, that's when things get sideways, and it's I guess it's a bit of a learning curve. Like, to the depths of where I'm going now is very different to where I've ever been, and in the way of where it's conscious. Right? It's not normally like previously. It was just an unconscious thing. I didn't really guide it as like what I'm trying to do now. And it just sort of just happened. And I guess in a way that was where a lot of the chaos started kicking in. And not trusting it, because I couldn't trust it because I didn't know how to direct it and whatnot, or what the messages were. It was just sort of like, I think it's this, instead of, which is placing it more up in the mind space, instead of just feeling like after today is very different. When I can ground and know that my energy is centered, I can feel which direction it's going to, which side I need to think. I still need to practice it, obviously, but moving forward, I think it's going to be very, very different. Just being aware of it, had you have asked me, or you kind of did ask me yesterday, but I wouldn't have been able to answer you because I didn't really know. I would have just said, yeah, it's a habit. That's just a thing, but I would have left it at that. There wasn't a realization of the disconnect energetically.
What makes you disconnect?
And that's lots of things can make you disconnect. Stories, traumas, depends, right? Generally, it's fear, and I got a lot of that within. Like, I was going into a place today where, you know how we've got the fight or flight response, and the other part of that is the freeze response, which is sort of like cowardice and weakness, right? And that came up for me today during this session, and it was really interesting because when I was 15, I got my first tattoo, and I think I've told you this, but the tattoo was of strength and courage. Like, I got at two separate times, and those are the feelings that I felt like I needed at that point in my life. And it's really interesting when you're unaware of what's playing out, and now it kind of makes a lot of sense, because it's one of the things that I've fought against. And so I overcompensate in life, where you go from, all right, so instead of being squashed, right, and feeling like you're being suppressed and unheard, you go to, all right, power, strength, and control to sort of combat that energy, instead of being able to sit in it, feel it, and understand that that can't hurt you. But some of my major triggering points were based around cowardice, because like when I was younger, I was a real gentle soul, like really, really soft, and that was back then, and probably to a degree now, seen as a weakness. But it wasn't. That was just the perspective that was taken at the time, right? And so being able to sit in that space of being scared, frozen, feeling cowardice, feeling weakness, and feeling it in your heart, but not having to distract, distort, or run from it and suppress it, just accepting it and allowing it through, as that's just the energy that's there, and you're there to learn a lesson from it. It becomes really interesting.
Yeah.
And it softens so much. And so it's like, oh, okay. So when you ask how do you disconnect, it's normally like that. Something will press a button, and it doesn't need to be all that big.
So what pressed the button yesterday?
For life not going the way that I wanted it. Expectations of being more productive than what I had anticipated, all that kind of stuff. But yesterday it was, I think, because I didn't get up and train, which is what I wanted to do. Like I set an intention on the night before, and because I didn't do it, it just stacked. I'm not entirely sure, but that wasn't a good way for me to set up my day.
So, okay, why didn't you do it?
Couldn't be fucked, to be honest. I was just tired.
And that has been your biggest issue for a long, long time. And there's no wrong or right with it. It's just the fact is now you've just witnessed, and this is how we can be powerful and help other people. That, hey, look, this is exactly what we're all about as a human, and this boils down to consistency. That is one thing that I would love, and I'm going to be brutally honest with myself and to you right now. I pride myself on that, and this is probably why a lot of people go, "Geez, why do you do this? Why are you so energized?" Well, do I really want to do it every day? Fuck no. Nah. But the point is that I really looked at is that why? Why do I do it? What's my why? Well, one is, which I've always said to you, and again, is my health, and I want to go to this place where I would love to help people, and I want to help people, and I will help people. But for me to get there and be healthy, like health is a whole range of things, which is what we're embarking on, is the emotional side, which is what we're doing, the mindset, and your food. The whole three components is health. And at the end of the day, if we want to go to where we want to go to and embark this whole beautiful world, which we are, you've got to have that consistency, because this is a great example. I'm glad you shared that with me, because that just shows you that this is a lot of people that they don't have that consistency. They'll do it for a bit And then they'll go to that slide there again, which you just basically, which boils down to energy, which then you've now witnessed, which is beautiful. There is some still there things that have now connected to when I do get to that space. You just said there's a fear, failure, all that, but then you go to the external things to hit you up, which is what you've been accomplished to as a what you've shared with me just then from such a young age, but also in business, which is all you know. Which to me then boils back to you don't have that faith in yourself to be able to help you work through that.
Yep. And faith, self-belief, and trusting in that space.
Wow.
And
Yeah. Okay.
and like what I was saying to you before in regards to the disconnect, when you disconnect from that energy, right? Because I was doing it unconsciously, there was no structure to it.
Right.
And like, although I could tap in at almost whenever I wanted to, if I was sort of semi-aligned and being pretty much congruent with where I'm at and who I am, now it's very different. Now there's a structure to it. Now there's a process. It's a lot easier for me to trust that. And so I'm looking forward to seeing on where that goes, because you know, when you revert back to your why, my why was very different, and so it was and the reason why was because it was so blurry previously, so blurry. Like there was only a minimal amount of clarity. I know that this is the ballpark direction of where I want to go, but that was about it. And I was sort of, I don't know, just sort of trusting on what the guidance is. I don't even, and there was no certainty around it. It was like, I'm hopeful, but I'm not certain. Like, you know, and it was almost like a blind faith that I was hoping upon. Now, after this experience today, it's very, very different. Very interested in finding out where that goes.
But this boils back to being consistent in day-to-day life, isn't it? Like you're saying, you personally, not just you, I should say
Not
all of us
consistent,
as
congruent.
So what's the
Congruent.
difference between congruent and consistency?
Congruent is being in alignment. Consistent
Yep.
is doing it every day.
Yep. So why that really boils down to being consistent as well in doing stuff to being congruent, because still got to do it every day.
Well, the problem was why I wasn't consistent is because I wasn't congruent. Like it just didn't line up to the same spot every day. Like it was, I could set an intention for 6-week course, 12-week course, and I can run that for that short period in time. But staying on that track, because the congruency just was like, why am I doing this? It's not, the answers weren't there. And so it's just like, no why, no consistency, drop. And that was a mad problem. And you're right, it was like it played out in multiple different facets.
Yeah.
And then the why turns out to be you have to. And so all of a sudden we're back into that forcing category. And that's the only reason why I actually do specific things, because I felt like I had to, or if I feel like my back's up against the wall. And so it was just like it built a sense of resentment and confusion, because it just didn't make any fucking sense. I know that I have to. I don't want to. Even though on a higher level, it's like, well, it'd be good if you did. But there wasn't anything. It was just sort of like grasping at straws. No, I don't care. I just didn't get there. And I was like, fuck, that's interesting. Now I look at that and go, fuck, that's interesting.
I'm just really linking, as you're talking, linking up, where we can help people with energy compared to with your health. So I don't know how to explain. This is what I'm getting frustrated in, because I just cannot understand where people are at with their health. They're like, our health is our health. We're all concerned about diseases and all this kind of stuff. How does this all link up to being consistent and, what, like you say, not having to do it, but wanting to do it? I don't know where it, what I'm saying. So what you're saying is, like, why wouldn't you want to go for a walk if it relies on your health for you to be aligned with the energy, vibration, frequency of where you want to go? Does that, like, say, let's go for
If you
I'm just using it. Let's
if
go
you
for a
don't
walk
know
every
that,
day. If you don't know what,
where it is that you want to go, I don't think most people know. That'd be having, you know,
so what I'm saying here, bud, is that means you're saying to me 90% of people, maybe 99% of people don't give a crap about their health, as in
yeah.
they don't want to know about it.
It's not that they don't want to know about it or they don't care. There's just too many distractions and a
Distractions,
lack
right?
of understanding. Like you look at the obesity that where that marker is right now within the world. It's high. I mean, last I saw it in the States was it's over 50% of people are at a benchmark of overweight or obese. And I don't think that Australia's sitting on any sort of pedestal either, so it won't be far off that.
So
So, yeah,
this is
in
what
answer
really
to your question, do people care about their health? No.
this is what's really interesting. It's such a we're such an interesting species, like humans. We're just it's and what it really intrigues me is that, like I said, you've got a beautiful energy. You've got, the energy side of things, but then all of a sudden you go, what I see is that you don't care about yourself, but you've got the energy there. And it's like, how do you not care about yourself? You do, but you don't. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, how does that not align up? What is
How
missing?
does it
That's
not
probably what
correlate?
I'm. Yeah. What am I missing? Am I
Um,
missing something?
the underlying intention is accurate. And I guess to a degree, I mean, if you ask anybody to, cover their mouth, hold their breath for 10 minutes, their body is going to reject that and want to breathe, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
there is a deeper knowing that, all right, I need to maintain this vessel, the body. In this case, we're talking about its functionality and health, right?
Hmm.
But most people don't play on that level.
Hmm.
Most people can't see past their nose. And when you've got other things that start screaming, most people it's financial or family or relationships most people won't do what they will do for others for themselves. That's in my experience.
Hmm.
They'll do more for others than what they will for themselves. And it's not that they don't. I just think it's a real lack of understanding and awareness and being able to pull everything together. And that's where you're a special human, because you can do that.
But this is what
And
I'd love to help that, but I don't know the right avenue to do it. That's what I think frustrates me, to see you where you are and how powerful you are, but you don't seem to, it's not want, but you don't seem to see the power behind, like, for instance, going for a walk every day or doing that every single day, which then will benefit your energy. And that's where I'm getting, is it all connected with
Well,
something that you still
for
trapped
me,
within you?
it's on a scale of the word that's coming up is need, right?
Mm.
And maybe this is an egoic sort of view on my capabilities of self, but I just know that I don't need, like, it's in the immediacy of it. I'm not looking at long term, not looking at anything else. If I needed to go for a 5K, 10K run, I could do it. No training, no problem. Just run it and go. And so when I have that understanding of, all right, I don't need to walk every day. If I need to run, like I play volleyball once a week. Train, play, put my body in all kinds of funky sort of positions, jumping, diving, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like I still play at a really good level. And so it's like, this is what I was talking about with the have to. I don't have to do it, and there's very minimal desire for me to train outside of, like, right now. I've just finally set my gym up. I'm waiting on a couple of things, just accessories, for it to be absolutely what I need, what I want for all of the exercises that I want to train for the body parts and whatever. And so I think that has a potential to change the outlook. I understand the importance of it, but it's just on the hierarchy. I think for most people, other things scream louder. And it's not until, here's an example that I'd throw to you. Most people don't change their lives until it's thrust upon them that they have to. Like, you hear the stories about people who... It's frustrating, I know, all right? It's frustrating. You hear the stories all the time. Person goes into the doctor and says, well, shit, you got 3 to 6 months to live. You need to change.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
It's because everything else is screaming louder. Our priorities are out of whack. See, for me, I'd much prefer to go into a deep meditation and ride that wave for fucking hours and hours and hours and hours than go and do a gym session or go for a walk. Because for me, gym session is probably a bit different than going for a walk. At least for the gym session, I probably feel more benefits to that than what I would go for a walk. But it's being able to sit in that space and really process it. But most people don't have the time, nor the energy, nor the care to want to do that until they've been told, you fucked up. If you don't change, you're going to die. Pretty much. Like, on Disney Plus, there's this thing, Limitless, with Chris Hemsworth.
Mm.
I watched that, and it was really interesting. Like, all simple procedures that they were sharing and tools. He is an anomaly, just like you, in wanting to get that ball rolling. It takes something to kick that switch. What is that?
What I'm saying
Fuck,
what I'm saying with your
different.
switch, with you are where you are right now, is you keeping that energy at that level where you want to keep it. So what are you going to do to keep it at the level? Because you go through times where you're there quite regularly, you're there, and then all of a sudden you slump. So what is it that you need to do within yourself to help you high up that, like you just pointed out with minutes ago, to really stay in it, feel it, do what you got to do, but then you don't have those slumps anymore.
Well, I think it's
What is it?
twofold, right? And one, what do I need to do is practice and stay consistent with that practice, right? But now I understand on how to do it, why I do it, and I want to do it. That's a very big key difference. I actually want to do that practice, and like for a lot of people, yeah, no, don't want to do it, but I can understand it, right? And I'm very, very picky on that for me, right? And it's because I was forced to do a lot of shit that I didn't want to do when I was younger, and I was forced to do it. And so if I don't have to do it, absolutely fucking have to, I won't. And there ain't a great deal that anybody can do or say to make me. There's not many punishments that you can give me or threats. So it's like that's just that space, and that's where that also that, you know, because that was how I had to combat that other energy I was talking about with cowardice and fear and all this kind of stuff and weakness. Now it's the process of I have to try and drop those, but how do we do it for others? I think this is a great start. Having a conversation about it, because most people don't know. Yeah, they don't know.
And I
Until
think the
it's too
biggest
late.
thing with what you're just saying there is being consistent in, if you're being consistent in one thing, it actually then you start being more consistent in other things and parts of your life. I think the thing that
Ha,
I'm getting here
there's
is,
a phrase where they say how you do one thing is how you do everything. That's fucking complete shit. It's not. Like it depends, right? And there's different layers and different facets, but it sounds good. Look, I think understanding that this is a roller coaster, and sometimes you're going to be on that ride, and sometimes you're going to be off it, and understanding that that's okay. Because, you know, once all of this part gets sorted out, then there'll be something else. Because we're always evolving and growing and all that kind of stuff. I think to where it's at, I mean, do I lay an importance on consistency? Probably not as much as what I should. And will that change? If it needs to. And that's probably the apt answer. Like, without trying to blow smoke up anybody's ass, it's like, fuck, am I going to do this for forever and a day? I don't fucking know. But one day at a time. Will I do it tomorrow? Yeah. Good chance. Good chance. And because for me, I'm like up in that mental space. Like I like to pull shit apart and figure out how it all works. And when it does all work, it's like, yeah, okay, this makes sense. I'm much more likely to do it consistently. If it works, it works. And it's just like, all right, just get out of the way after that. But, yeah, well, time will tell.
it's an interesting concept, like you're saying. I've just noticed that with a lot of people, mate, is, you know, they go in and out, again, trying to find that little space sort of thing. And, you know, when you are feeling down, you don't want to do stuff, and that's cool. That's the energy, that's the vibration, that's where you're at. But I know that that's the time when you obviously really need to be getting up and doing it. That just shows you that consistency, like you're talking about. You go, I've got to start being more consistent.
That's
with your
called
meditation
discipline. Discipline different.
Yeah.
Being able to give yourself a command and doing it, for the most part, I can do that. For the most part, I'm pretty good at doing that part. But only when I understand it. I don't give myself orders for shits and giggles. Just because that ship has sailed. And it's just like, Now it's a much more purposeful sort of understanding. And that's why it's hard for me to get those things off the ground. Well, it has been hard, because we've been working together a long time, and like, it's slow until it's not. Once it clicks, it's on, and it goes, and we're away, right?
Yep.
But until it clicks, fuck, it's a painful process for everybody involved, and I know that. But now I'm hoping that process isn't as painful. I'm hoping that it speeds up. The level of understanding is very, very different now, and it's difficult to explain, but there's a peace about stuff, and it's difficult to explain, but long and short, moving forward, it'd be very different, because I can piece it together now. Like, there's a structure to it, and for the way that my mind works and the way that I best operate, it makes sense, and now it feels right, and so it's like, okay, we can roll. That makes sense. That feels right. Okay, good. There's no resistance to doing whatever it is that's required. And I mean, when it comes to discipline, like doing ice baths and all that kind of stuff, I can do that. Get yourself to do hard things, I can do that. But only when there's a fucking decent reason for me to do it. And I think that's the biggest problem for a lot of people. They just don't have that reason. I was speaking to a girl today who was like, "What do you need a purpose? You don't need a purpose for, And that was her opinion. Like, you can just cruise and float through, and a lot of people do. A lot of them are happy to just be, whether they're consciously striving for something more or they're not. And there's lots of people like that. And it's not until it's generally too late that people give a shit about their health. Even though, fundamentally they'll go, yeah, I need to be healthy. But the statistics don't lie.
No. I think you're spot on, mate. I agree.
The sales of all of that stuff, that don't lie. Like breakfast cereals, the whole lot. Like fast food, energy drinks, soft drinks, all that stuff that we know fundamentally, that shit's not good for you. But you buy into the lie. It's just that belief has been passed down generation to generation. And even when it gets highlighted as, that was a lie, too late, it's ingrained. Oh well.
I think that's my frustration that I've got to look at within myself to, because it just goes, well, how can you not take care of yourself? Like, how do you not look at food like in that way? But like I said, I don't know the answer. I don't know, but you've pretty well touched on it, that it's a belief, it's a structure that's pretty much in their head at the moment with where they're at, what they're doing. It's not a priority. They just live life. And it's funny you say that. It's a lot of people, when you say these words to them, we only have one life, right? Let's live life to the fullest. You hear that a lot, but to you and I, living life to the fullest is fucking, let's just ramp up the energy and just enjoy, like that, not go and eat all that shit and drink all that shit. And, that's the different concept, isn't it, of it? But it's still saying those words. So the way those words come to us is different to some people, isn't it, on how they are wired. Like, let's go and enjoy life. We only live once, this, that, yeah.
Yeah, YOLO, you only live once. Let's go to the pub.
Yeah.
That's the response.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it's just old school stories. Smoking once upon a time was healthy. Till it wasn't. Fucking doctors used to smoke in surgeries. How many? And that's the biggest question that we probably need to ask is, what beliefs do I have that are false? Nobody wants to go down that fucking path.
Mm. And this is what I'm saying. This is all about planting the seed and flicking that light switch, isn't it, mate? What is it
Pretty
that
much.
we need to, you know, not need, but we would like to do? I don't know. This is where it's a real frustrating chat. This because of that reason is just what is it like? How could you not see that your body's important to you? How could you not see that? And it's just like, well, they're not being brought around that. They don't know any different. There's, like you're saying, you've come up with all these spot on answers in the sense of how people are perceiving and thinking is distractions. You're right. And when you sit back and look at it, now that is a lot of programming that's gone for, like saying, a long time. And it takes a long time to get through that, to do the work, and some people can't be asked. Like you said, it is what it is. Yeah, it's an interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting.
It's funny. Like, if you look at the average person, right? Average person. What is their main concern? Making money? Why?
I just went straight to my head. It was money. Yeah.
Yeah. Making money? Why? Roof over their head.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else do you need money for? I want to say food, but I know there's stacks of people that don't buy food second. Healthy food, that is. And it's a mindset. Like, a lot of people that live week to week, there'll be alcohol and cigarettes in that mix before food. And that sounds really, really, really bad and really judgmental. It's not. That's just the way shit works. You know, when we had COVID, the gyms were closed, but the fucking bar, like the bottle stores were open, and you can sprout some rubbish about being unclean and hygiene and blah, blah, whatever. It's crock shit. Anyway, but that's where the priorities go.
But again, this is where it's all that starting point again, where it comes down to, we talked about it the other day, was energies. It's your trapped emotion, the energy that's there that creates that.
Yep.
Somewhere's got to start somewhere, doesn't it? For you to be in that space, it's got to start somewhere, which is that programming.
Yeah, and how do you start it? You just got to have conversations. Right? And I think for people need to hear your frustration on that subject. Like, they're going to hear my version of their justifications for why they feel that way, right? And they can pick one of them, pick a couple. The only reason why I pulled them out is because I had those or have them, so I know exactly, like, that's where it's at. That's my justification for not caring, because it's not that it's not important. It's just not the first thing. It's not the first cab off the rank.
And it's like what's seized with you. It's not like you don't care about yourself. I know you care about yourself because I know the work that you've actually done to get you to where you are now. So fucking hell, if you didn't care yourself, you wouldn't be here. It's as fucking simple as that.
Yeah.
You'd be going, no, fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah.
Going that way. All right. So you do care. I know you care. But then they're going, okay. But then you go to a space of the energy side of things, which then takes you to that space of not caring. But you do care. So what is it? That's probably what's frustrating with me and this is a lot of people, like you're just saying, this is fucking plenty of them, mate. That they know they care about them. Yes, I've got to do this, this, and this, but then it goes to a space where then, nah. But you're always going to care for it, but there's something underlining, isn't there? Like they're just, you know what I'm saying?
I hate to say it, but people are fickle. All right, why do you eat fast food over home cooked meal? Convenience, taste. Some people like it because they've been bred on it. Right? It's a treat for kids. You know.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, they get to 19, 20, 30. I'm going to treat myself. That's when No, you're setting up a bad program. Why do people drink soft drink over water? Taste. Plus all the sugary, addictive other shit that they've got in those things. So one hit and you're done, if you like that stuff. But it's creative marketing. Like, you look at juices, right? Bottled juices, orange juice. It's a fucking bottle of sugar, but marketed as what? A healthy alternative. It's not. It's fucking false. But people buy that shit up when they're a kid.
I think the other
Back
thing
in the
is too,
70s,
which is
80s,
really,
and 90s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, that's when heaps of damage was done. Heaps.
is they when we've been involved in a lot of the chemical side with our bodies, that they throw a lot of chemicals in those particular foods and drinks and whatever else to want more. And I think that's where we understand that a lot, that how powerful our energy, which is all chemicals in our body, that if you've dumbed that down to a point and really override it with these certain chemicals that are in drinks, fast foods, all that, it's very, very clever. And when you go look at all the ancient history of who started this, was boiled down to one thing, which is that, like you're saying, money. Right? How do we get more people to eat this? So if I'm going to make second fucking McDonald's, right, what are we going to put in there for them to want more? Flavor, like you just said, all right, which is fucking, yep, number one. And then there's something in there that's going to want them to have it anymore, which is a programming space of a chemical.
Yep.
So it goes back, like you're saying, fuck, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years that somebody's come up with an idea and going, how do we get these people to go to there all the time?
Oh, it hasn't gone back 100 years. We're only talking probably not much more than 60 years. When that's when it really started to shift on a massive level. When advertising and promotion started, you have all of these people, and it did range down to money, like breakfast, cereals, marketed to kids, sugar. Fuck, that's all it is. Hardly any of that shit's good for you. Most breakfast cereals is just, and they try to get away with put the star rating on the side of it and ingredients and all that kind of shit. Come on now. You think any kid reads that stuff? And you get a parent down to the shop, the supermarket, all they care about is their kids being quiet and fucking eating their breakfast. That's all they care about. Because it's easier. You just shut them up. Get them out the door. You've got to go to school. I don't like this. Tough. Eat it. That's why we're in this predicament where we're at. In my eyes, anyway.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, mate. And I think that's probably the frustrating bit on my behalf, is that you're right in what you're saying. Until someone just about on their fucking deathbed, well, then we'll try and do it. But that's too late. And then we all know the energy side of that. Then the next person along your line is going to get it as well. Until someone does it, we're just talking about helping our kids as such. Well, it's a younger age. We're 45, we're still young. But if we bring that age group down lower, then you hope it gets to that stage where when they start their life, they actually look at it in a different space, which is what we're embarking on bit by bit by bit by bit, because we don't want people to go to that last stretch and go, oh, fuck, you've only got 3 months to go, or, oh, fuck. You want to, what is it? Is it prevent it? It's preventing it with a healthy lifestyle, mind, body, energy.
That's the truth, right? You have the ability to be able to have some influence on your life. Not everything, but some. All right, and like that show with Limitless, that one I was talking about before, like he got diagnosed with a gene for Alzheimer's, where he's almost 10 times more likely to develop those symptoms. 10 times more likely. But because he was aware enough and forward planned enough, like he's only 38. Normally people don't pick that up until they're 50, 60. And by that time, there's nothing you can do about it, right? So now he can change his diet, change his, his way of living, implement different strategies so that he can potentially improve that potential, so that it doesn't happen. Scary, yes. Most people don't want to see that shit.
No.
I know of several people, and men are bloody disastrous at doing this. They won't go to the doctor until it's too fucking late. They know that there's something wrong, but they don't want to see it. And that is the truth. Men are horrible at doing that. And then they write it off like, I'm a real man. I don't need help. Like, are you fucking serious? You are stupid. Something that could have been easily remedied. Like, my uncle died. All he needed to do was go to the doctor, and they would have been able to save him. But he didn't until it was well too late, and he was screwed. And then everything else just shit itself within him. But even the doctor said, if they had come earlier, it would have caught it and would have been done. It would have been fine. Take some medication for a period of time, change your habits, would have wiped it. Nope. Ended up dead. Dumb. But it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. Which is the most ridiculous thing.
This is the point, though, that I get at, and obviously it's just what I've been learning over, my whole 15 years of doing the food side of things and now really understanding it when did that course with Tyler, is that we all rely on those doctors, yet at the end of the day, we can be our own physicians if you really want to, which means be aware of what our foods and all that is. But people, and this is again, programming, it might come back to that self-belief, the love for that, to have pride in yourself. And hey, you are in control of your vessel. You don't need anyone else to tell you what you can and can't do. You can do it yourself, and I think that's probably another thing, is that a lot of people are, like you just saying, do rely on doctors, but some of them are a fear of going to the doctors, which can detrimental to your life.
The fear of going to the doctors is bullshit. It's fear of knowing the truth. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because you know within yourself that when you're sick, you know.
Yeah.
Like you can feel it. And you know when you're off and when you're not. And if you think that you don't, it's really not that hard to fucking have a look. But most people will deny it because they're too scared. They're scared of the unknown. I don't know what it is. It's like, that's why they got to remind people to go and take fucking women to take breast scans and do, for breasts. It just popped into my head because I drove past the pink bus where they do it.
Yeah,
and it's just like, but they have to put a massive drive on. Women are better at going and getting help and stuff like that. Not by much, but they are better. Men, Jesus Christ, something's got to be falling off or completely broken before they'll... if they can't put duct tape on it and just tape that sucker up, it's like, fuck. There's very few.
The biggest thing that we've learned too, mate, is that everyone wants a quick fix. And that's just this day and age, like you're saying, is distractions. Everything's just fucking all quick, and everyone wants a quick fix instead of actually doing the process work to unlocking all this, the energy, the foods, everything all like that. And you go back, I saw that Chris Hemsworth one, and it just shows you when, he was doing that that stress related side of things, where his stress came from. I mean, that come from when he was younger, when his mum and dad put the house on the redid for the money for him to go and act, which then created the stress. For then, if I don't do this, all right, and I fail, my mum and dad are gonna be in debt for the rest of their life. Da 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 da.
Lose
He's
the
still
house.
got that fucking stress at 39 years of age.
Yep.
So that just gives you an example. It's not pinpointing one bit. It's a lot of. That's why I love talking about this with you, because you're very clever with your energies and all that. But that just shows you it's not just one bit. It's the three important bits of our life. Is that the energy with the soul, the emotions from our past, and then you've got your foods, which just shows you. And then I think that's what I really related to that Chris Hemsworth one. They're those three key components. If you seriously want to live a healthy life without, like you're saying, going to the doctors and getting diagnosed with whatever because you got that fear, do it yourself. But maybe that's what you're saying. You need to educate people to say, hey, you may start on that. And this is one thing that I'm realizing myself, and I'm really proud about myself. And I've said this to you before. I started on the food before I even went into that the energy side and that kind of thing. You started on the energy side before me, as in, all that side of things. And it's just quite amazing that I, within myself, thought, hey, I'm all okay. She'll be right. I'm healthy. All right. And to me, that's bullshit. I worked that one out pretty quick. That's why I say health to me is not just one thing. Health is those bits and pieces that all add up to one thing. And I've learnt that. Like I could be the healthiest person eating wise, but if I still got internal pain from my past, which I had, and if they didn't unlock, well, then it's still going to squeeze out, and then I'll go, fuck, what else have I got to do? But that just shows you it's important to align the key components to, like you're saying, living that life, having that vision, the want, whatever you want to look at it. And I'm realizing that now with you, I'm realizing it with myself. And that's probably why we say that it's all ongoing through the whole journey of your whole life, because you are going to get positions where you, shit, where's this all come from? I'm doing this, this, and this. What's one thing you've got to work on? And that's one thing I'm proud about myself. It's been 12 years, but I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't do that, the soul work and that type of really energy healing work. I wouldn't be talking to you right now about it because I fucking simply wouldn't be here.
No.
Simple as that.
You wouldn't look for it. It just wouldn't be there.
No. Yeah.
It's non-existent. And that's
And
where
I think that was, sorry, mate, that was where the power I got from a lot of that Chris Hemsworth thing. Wasn't just one thing that he had to do. There was bits of things that he had to do to help with that. Was it Alzheimer's, wasn't it? Alzheimer's
yeah.
potential.
It's a combination of not many things.
No, you're right.
A good diet, bit of exercise, a little bit of training, mental training to keep the brain active, because if you don't use it, you'll lose it, right? And a couple of other things, right? Probably there's going to be a few more things as it goes on, but long and short, it's not that many things, right? Handful of things. And realistically, that's the same for everybody. It's a handful of things that you need to do that would probably help improve your life. I can't be bothered.
Yep.
It's too hard.
Yep.
I don't know why. I'm not enough.
Mm-hmm.
All that kind of shit. Those are hard. Those are the battles as to why. Yep. And there's deeper underlying sort of things that come and play off that. But it's being willing to be vulnerable enough with yourself. This is what I had to work on, to accept that truth. Right? These are things that are playing, and know that it's okay. Because it's simple stuff, most of it. And I think it's simple. Other people may not understand. That's just what they know. That's how they were bred and trained and whatever. Those are the lessons that they took away. You know, eating a healthy breakfast, breaking a fast, what kinds of foods you should eat, what you shouldn't. Like, for some people, that's common knowledge. For others, nope. It's like common sense. That shit ain't common. And so, what do? Well, we just keep on having these conversations, I guess, man. And, you know, people take away with what they want, and maybe we strike a chord, maybe we don't. But I think we've given the listener enough sort of different variations to press a button to see what happens. That's all it is. We can trigger something to go, oh, maybe, you know, even if it is for the fact of, oh, maybe I'll go watch that show. What the hell's it talking about? Huh? Ah, this is all shit. And that's cool. But, you know, once you crack that door and that curiosity kicks in, until that's satiated, it'll become a niggle that just doesn't go away.
It's such an interesting, like, just life. I just look at you and as you're talking to me, and you're just going, just life is just it's such an interesting space, isn't it? Like, there's just so many bits and pieces in that, but when it boils down to, it's not complicated at all. But just the programming and just I don't know. It's
Forrest Gump said it best. It's a box of chocolates, man. You never know what you're going to get. You just enjoy the chocolate.
Yeah. There's one thing that I'm really, you know, by doing this work and getting up every morning, I know fair well I'm going to live a healthy life. I know that for a fact, and I'm proud about that. Yeah, and it's not really, you know, the money side of things. Yes, it's important, 100%. But within my vessel, I know every morning that I am going to live a healthy, joyful, happy life with you.
Yep. And that floats your boat, right? See, from my space, the only reason why I train is for pure vanity, not for healthy. Vanity, just so I feel good, look good. That's the only reason. That's brutal, honest. Like, because like now, like once upon a time, I needed. Oh, well, I didn't need to because I was physically active. But like, what do I don't need to lift anymore. Like I used to move around 120 kilo signs, and you know, so there was a certain degree of requiring, you know, the body to be physically strong. Now it's like I don't need to do that because I don't do that. I used to do martial arts and train and stuff like that, so it was like, all right, well, it made sense, right, to go and do it back then. I don't do that anymore. Like, it's the arts that I do are much more fluid and gentler, softer, and so it's like, so why would you want to go out and lift weights and because you have a strong body? And it's like, not really. The only reason why I want to do it is for vanity, so that my body looks a certain way. That's it.
Which a lot of people, that's why they go to the gym.
Most people, that's why they go to the gym.
Yep.
Unless they're, you know, dedicated bodybuilders, that's vanity.
Yeah, that's...
And they just want to look good, be big, whatever, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging.
No.
CrossFitters, they want to be strong, they want to be the fittest athlete in the world, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. Some people, they use it to combat mental, you know, anguish and whatever. Could be. I don't need it for any of that. So that's why I struggle with the consistency. Is that I need a reason to go and otherwise, fuck that, I can't be bothered.
But see,
Well, other things I
this is the
prefer
interesting
to do.
thing when you say that. A reason is your health, but you don't see it like that. That's what I
Well, I
don't
can
see as a
my
human.
my health.
How do
I
you?
know that I will be able to do that too. Like the first time I've been sick in the last probably 6-7 years was, you know, 2 months ago. But that had more. There was more to me being sick back like then
Hmm.
than to the 6-7 years worth of not being sick, right? And it was just like, I'll live long and prosper, and so that's why there's no. And it may be false, and that's the truth of our mortality. Nobody wants to look at that,
Mm.
especially in
That's
Western
interesting you say what
society.
you
You
say.
get the Western society to look at death. Fuck me dead. You watch people run and cringe. It's a tough subject. I can't deal with it because there isn't any process of dealing. You go into some of the Eastern cultures, or the island cultures or whatever. It's very different. Like Maori culture is very different to how we mourn. Like Fijian culture is very different. And don't get me started on the Indian culture going over there. Jesus, very different. Here, you chuck them in the ground or you cook them, and you go out, have a feed. That's it. A couple of hours, done. And that's a really crass way of saying it, but that's the truth. There's nobody wants to like deal properly. Like there's no mourning. There's no celebrating, and that's why they don't look at their mortality. Like I know that I'm not going to live for forever. I'm fully aware of that, but I also don't fear it, and that's why I don't concern myself with my health
Yeah,
to
it's
that
interesting.
degree. I might be an anomaly as well too, my bro. So,
Well,
and
with
I
this
could be completely
conversation, I think
talking out of my ass, but
everyone's going to understand there's no right or wrong with anything, and I just want to reiterate that's where people go. You are in your position the way where you are, and that's okay as well. At the end of the day, that's fine. Okay, but the thing is that I'm saying to a lot of people is that if you're going to be, which we are hugely, if you're going to whinge and moan and sook about this, that, do something about it. Otherwise, don't know about it. If you choose to be like that, that's great. Cool. Good on you. But the thing is that obviously frustrates me, irritates me is that people have got certain issues with themselves and they cry out, "Oh, I've got this, I've got that. Oh, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Oh, I've tried that for a week, couple of weeks, and no, nothing." It's like, are are you fucking serious? Like, come on. We all go through our challenging times. We all have our issues. That's great. But what are you prepared to do about it to help yourself work through it? And I think that's what we're embarking on today. If we plant the seed, if there's something that may be there that just starts somewhere. I started, okay, like I said to you, I started on my food. You started in a different space. Someone else may start in a different space. And that's okay, as long as you start. And as long as you keep working through it.
yeah,
I think that's where it all boils down to.
absolutely. And it's like that's it. Like, everybody starts from wherever they're at, right?
Yeah.
And I guess the question like is do you wanna? And if you do, yeah, cool. Let's have a conversation.
I think the biggest thing too now, mate, is, we got beautiful kids. And I think one that really, really hits me a lot now with my clients that have kids is when they do the work, I'm super proud of them because I know that this beautiful energy and where they're at, what they're embarking on is only going to help their beautiful kids. And I think that's probably what lights me up a lot because, if people are, oh, well, who gives a shit about, my health or who gives a shit about this? Well, who's going to get it? Your kids are just going to get it. And then the cycle just keeps going out until someone eventually does something. That's it. Because that's what we've been talking about, and that's what life is truly is, because that's who we are. If you've got a lot of energy, trapped energy inside of you, and you don't really give two craps, you go and eat McDonald's or eat bad foods, well, your kids are only just watching and learning. They're going to do exact same. Fact. Because that's why we're in this position right now. Programming. And that's why we are choosing to do what we want to do to be a difference for ourselves first, hence our kids, and now the community. And I think that's what I love doing this work with you, and I suppose with myself, and helping people, because I know there's going to be a difference. We are making a difference.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people got to realize, if you choose not to do, and even if you are a single person and you go, fuck, no one cares for me, it still gets passed on to somebody. I mean, you get that in your head now. It goes somewhere. Your
Yeah,
energy does
most
go
people don't
somewhere.
care. Most people don't care.
No,
They care if it
they
goes
won't.
down to their kids, but it has to be poked. Like,
Yeah, true.
they've got to be able to witness that. And it's easy to do,
Yeah,
but it's hard to see if you
see
don't
it.
want to look at it. Because it'll be everything that fucking pisses you off about your kids. And you just ask yourself the question, is that mine? And if it
Yeah,
is, well, that's a good enough reason to at least have a little bit of a crack at trying to
yeah.
unpack it, see what's going on, right? Until you see it.
I think
And that's the whole
the
point
other
of us
thing is
shining the
too.
light on it.
Exactly, exactly. And you put that very well in our last chat. Was, we've all got the old blinkers on, and we're seeing things from a minute
Yeah.
telescope, if you like to look at it, and we're not seeing that wider vision, which is what you're saying, shining the light, look at things in a different light, or you know, listen, listen to little things that could be very powerful. And I think you're spot on with what you're saying in that space. Interesting.
I think we're going to ruffle some feathers with this one, but it's been an awesome chat, mate.
We do our chats. We love our chats. At the end of the day, we've helped somebody just have a shine the light. I love using that, shine the light. It's what it's about. So had a great time today, mate. Appreciate it. Been great.
Cheers, mate. I'll see you soon.